Nintendo Labo is a series of kits consisting of cardboard that you punch out along perforated lines, then fold, assemble, and create things called Toy-Con by following on-screen visual instructions. The best way I can liken this to anything is the Nintendo Wii. Remember how there were Wii games like fishing that would see you holding the Wii remote like a fishing pole, and then you'd reel in your fish by twirling the nunchuck to simulate the action the video game was portraying? Well, the first kit has you creating a variety of Toy-Con that physically interact with your Nintendo Switch, and they basically act as the spiritual successor to the Wii and its motion control gimmicks. One of the Toy-Con is a fishing rod that, when set up, is designed to give you an actual tug on your line as you reel in fish. Another is a small piano that you slot the Switch into that basically transforms it into a little sound studio. Pretty neat. I never bought one. The second and third kits see you building a body-sized robot controller and vehicle controllers respectively. Both of these seem like they'd be really cool to build and interact with. I didn't buy either one. Today's video is about
Nintendo Labo Kit number 4, VR Kit.
Nintendo released their 4th Labo VR kit on April 12, 2019. Now, I honestly have no clue what the sales figures are for the individual Labo kits, but my BS-o-meter is telling me the 4th Labo kit sold more in and of itself than the other 3 did respectively. I'm sure plenty of people bought the first variety kit, just on general principle of, it's new and there's more to do than the other one. The first 2 kits, Variety and Robot, were the ones that dropped day 1, while the third, the Vehicle kit, didn't drop until sometime after. I just kind of feel like by the time the third kit dropped, no one except the die-hard fans wanted a piece of it.
Personally, if I could afford them, I'd get them all. But let's move on to the VR kit.
Back on April 12, 2019, Nintendo released their own version of VR for the Nintendo Switch. They did so via the guise of Nintendo Labo and their 4th expansion of cardboard that, itself, came in 2 flavors. The $80 Deluxe VR package and the $40 Basic VR package. The full kit will land you a myriad of things to build and play with, those being the blaster, the pinwheel, the camera, the elephant, the bird, and the gust pedal.
I got the cheaper one, so I don't have all that other stuff. I just have the goggles, the gun, and the joke.
Let's get started with just the goggles, and I'll address the biggest issue first. It's cardboard. It sure is. It feels and smells just like cardboard. What do you know? But it's also cardboard that's folded and origamied together around a plastic lens piece. The way it's constructed and put together, it feels way sturdier than just cardboard. That also makes it super lightweight by itself. Yeah, it's cheap, but that's why I got it. Look, I've been to Best Buy and I've tried Minecraft and Gear VR. It's amazing. The game takes up my entire field of view and I do genuinely actually feel like I'm virtually inside a game of Minecraft. It's a little unsettling, but awe-inspiring of how much a small screen and some glasses can basically transport you to a different world. Now, while I was there trying that, I also got to look at the price, and let me tell you, no amount of cool features or experiences or love of Minecraft is gonna make me shell out that kind of cash for a phone and glorified goggles. It's amazing, but it's a phone. And I want my phone to be a phone. And play porn.
I even got this generic insert your phone here kind of VR headset from Walmart for $10. This thing is garbage.
So yeah, understand I come from a place of convenience when I say I went straight to Target and picked this bad boy up day 1. I didn't do it because I expected Nintendo to offer the epitome of VR experiences. And if I wanted that, I'd go trade my Switch in for a Gear at Best Buy. No, I just got it because I already own a Nintendo Switch. VR on a console I already have? I'll bite. And bite I did, and bite we shall. Diving out of the software right out of the box, you're instructed to build this thing. I already did, but here's the on-screen visual instructions you're supposed to follow along to, but sped up. You can even change the point of view to a different angle, distance, or even rewind as far as you want. It's pretty hard to mess it up, but you definitely want to take your time.
Here's the time it took me to build all of these.
The goggles are pretty self-explanatory. You stick the Switch in there, hold them to your face with one hand, and keep a Joy-Con handy in the other. I also would tend to keep the left Joy-Con attached and just kind of hold it that way, but I don't know if it's really good for the sliding connection, so maybe don't do that. Most of the games you can play are decidedly nothing more than bite-sized tech demos and kinda what could be for VR on Switch. Everything you interact with is made up of bright, simple shapes that lend themselves exceedingly well to the Switch's otherwise pathetic display. Look, I love this thing. I couldn't stop singing the Switch's praises when it first released. It was, and still is, an amazing console that, for me, really bridges the gap between portable and home consoles. It may not be the most powerful thing ever, but it certainly delivers on the ability to be played any way I want. It's on the TV up to 1080, or portably up to 720. Now, that same 720 display of the Switch's tablet self is obviously what's being used to simulate the VR. Through the magic of lenses bending light, it fills your field of vision within the VR goggles, and it really makes for a through-the-looking-glass kind of effect. It really feels like an entire world of video game magic is waiting for you on the other side of those plastic circles. However, the magical world of video games is understandably pixelated at times. While never immediately apparent in the variety of games that come with even just the goggles, it definitely starts to show later on, but we'll get to that.
Here's a rundown of the games.
Number 1, welcome to the VR kit. This one sees you take control of this little robot dude and pressing buttons does stuff. You can move your head to look around in a 360-degree view, but you're fixed to that one spot. Some of the games let you change from where in the VR setting your fixed point is, but this isn't one of them. Number 2, jump and destroy. Jump and break the blocks. Number 3, bomb hockey. It's Pong. Shot from behind the back with bombs. Neat. Number 4, climb to the finish line. Oh my gosh, it's a multi-leveled platformer game. The controls are a little janky, but it's really great how they set this up. When you make it to the end of the segment, your POV jumps up to the next segment you're moving through. I like it. Number 5, car driving. Yep, that's what this is. Number 6, car battle. Yeah, baby! Number 7, UFO pilot. Number 8, UFO crane game. I like the idea of this one, but its execution is clunky. I'm trying to grab these things, but the interaction seems to be a little less grabby and a little more slappy. I don't know. Number 9, wobbly dancer. It's a rag doll. That's it. Number 10, animals galore. Huh. Number 11, zero gravity. I kind of like this one. Number 12, kitchen capers. Okay, this one is one of my favorites. There's a giant fish in the fridge. And zero gravity. Number 13, shooting hoops. Yup. Number 14, boomerang. Number 15, good aim. This one is actually kind of cool, because if you get into it enough, you can flick shot the ball right to the top, and that's pretty rewarding, I gotta say. Number 16, bat and ball. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not good at this one. And that's all as far as the intro to the goggles go. There's 24 other games, but I'm not gonna go through them all. Here's a list of all the titles. Yeah, those last four should have tipped you off on my next point. By the way, you can make your own VR game if you feel all of these aren't enough. Yeah, there's an in-game game creation tool that lets you create your own games, VR or otherwise, and you can do so with a 2D or 3D logic-based program.
I have no idea how it works.
Oh yeah, there's also VR videos, 33 to be exact. They're all really short and bite-sized, much like the games. From Mario inexplicably pulling a string of flags out of your mouth, to having Nintendo Labo Daft Punk play you happy birthday, there's a little bit of something for everyone to enjoy.
Before I get to talk about the actual games behind this here blaster gun, let's talk about this here pinwheel.
I'm not sure how they made something so silly and stupid be so interesting in its execution. Basically, these folded blades have stickers on half of them that, when you blow on them, interrupts the RR signal from the Joy-Con over and over, letting it know to tell the Switch of this newfound movement.
On the realest of real notes, I was hospitalized recently for partial lung collapse. While there and upon being released, I was given this thing to, well, basically flex my lungs.
While there and upon being released, I was given this thing to basically help flex my lungs. You know, give them a workout. Well, between games 17 to 20, them being pinwheel blow, pinwheel targets, pinwheel spinner, and pinwheel inflation, I get a healthy dose of breathing exercises in the form of neat Nintendo VR experiences.
I literally can't justify this stupid thing any other way.
Finally, we can move on to the blaster gun. This bad boy cocks, walks, and talks. It uses a small series of rubber bands along with some clever pseudo-weighted cardboard to deliver a working load and trigger kind of device. There's 4 VR games, games 37 to 40 being Blaster Blastin', Blaster Snipin', Blaster Bowlin', and Blaster Climbin'. Yeah, these things are cute and all, and they serve to extend the time you'll spend with your face in this thing that much more, but let's be honest, we're here for the hippos. Okay, there's an on-rail alien shooter game where you're basically a robot tank or whatever, and you go through various on-rail levels to shoot the aliens. It's really cool, and you can flip the top visor thing up and freeze time, shoot a bunch of bullets that, when you flip the visor thing up again, returns time to normal, sending said bullet bunch flying. That's good and all. But look at these hippos! Kablasta is the #1 reason to even bother getting the VR kit in the first place. Don't even at me. You remember the board game Hungry Hungry Hippos? Yeah, it's kind of like that. But instead of being the hippo that eats, you're a you that shoots fruit into the gaping mouths of hippos so that you may lure them to your side of the pool for sweet, sweet points. Some hippos are worth more points than the rest, and some fruits have more desirable effects when shot than just your basic apple. To load the fruit, just take a look up and around your POV for a lineup of options, cock one of your choice and blast it straight into a hippo mouth. Then just pass it off to a second player, or just play it by yourself. That's what I did.
And that's basically it for the Nintendo Labo VR kit. Honestly, with what you get for $40, it's pretty good.
While it may mostly only be a tech demo, it's definitely promising of what's to come from Nintendo. Just think, if they released a newer version of the Switch with an improved tablet screen, the vast plethora of games that can be created in VR would become basically endless for a company like Nintendo. VR really has come a long way since back in the 90s, and has slowly become more of a staple among gaming. While it hasn't necessarily become a replacement like it has touted to do in the past, it's definitely become a solid option among the various ways to play. Speaking of various ways to play, Nintendo released free VR-based updates to both Super Mario Odyssey and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Mario Odyssey sees itself getting 3 new modes that place you in a fixed point within a level. It is from this fixed point that you are set up to look around and control Mario. The goal here is to just run around through the music notes, get whatever instrument item, take it back to whoever musician character, rinse and repeat 3 times per 3 levels, who cares? Admittedly, when you're done in those 3 levels, it unlocks the 4th level where your fixed point is inside the New Donk City practice concert room. Wouldn't you know it? You get to experience the Jump Up Superstar song in VR!
It's amazing that 2 years later and I'm still not sick of this song yet.
But who cares about this baby level VR when you can get the entire game of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as a full VR experience? Oh my god, I could do an entire video on this alone. This has been the absolute best, worst thing to happen to me in my entire life. When I was a kid, I used to sink hours into Ocarina of Time because it actually felt like I was exploring a big world. Then on the 3DS, I did it all over again, but in stereoscopic 3D. 2 years ago, I recaptured that childlike magic with Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch. It was an amazing, actually exploring a big world kind of experience, and it was one that I could take anywhere. Now, because of the surprisingly sturdy cardboard, Nintendo has recaptured the innate joy of seeing cuckoo feathers coming right at me from a handheld. They've also somehow set my visual standard acceptance even lower.
It looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest here. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is an amazingly beautiful game. It doesn't matter if it's running at 900p in the dock or 720 on the Switch's own tablet screen. Now, with that all being said, that 720p display can be gorgeous when all 720 pixels are all dedicated to that one singular rectangular shaped output. when you do VR mode, this screen actually looks like this. Meaning the image you're seeing while you game actually looks kinda like this. And I gotta say, I've seen worse on the 3DS, so I'm okay with this for what it is. Let's just face it, you shouldn't ever get a Nintendo Switch, Breath of the Wild, and a VR Labo kit all for the sake of enjoying Breath of the Wild in VR on the Nintendo Switch. I do think, however, you should definitely play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at least once. I further think the best possible console to do so on is, in fact, the Nintendo Switch. And hey, did you know they offer VR for as cheap as $40?
It's funny. My grandfather once told me, "Oh hell, you're gonna go cross-eyed playing that thing, and then you're gonna be holding it up to here." I love you, Pawpaw.
Good